Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Sports Star podcast. This is Nihit Sachdeva, and joining me on the pod today from Hangzhou, China is Aashin Prasad, who is covering the Asian Games for Sports Star. Aashin, welcome back on the pod. How has it been in China? You've been there for over a week now, and how has the experience been of covering the event so far?
Hi Nihit, and hello everyone. Yeah, it's been quite brilliant actually. I mean, like when I come in, come in with a lot of like skepticism as to like how things are going to be, how you're going to like figure where you have to go and things like that. But it's been good so far. Hectic, obviously, because there are most days where you start early and then you come. You start at like around like 7 in the morning, and then you sometimes back in the media village by like 1, 2 in the night. So that part is and not getting enough sleep is it's an issue, but like it's okay. There are times like where you can sleep on the bus. But commuting has been one thing which has been a big issue because most venues there are like 54 venues for the Asian Games here, and think I may have hit over 10 so far, and each venue is like nearly like every nearly every venue is like 30 minutes away from each other, and most of them average is like some 50 minutes. Uh, so on one day, I think on a Sunday, this is right after the opening ceremony, the first official day of the Asian Games here. I went to the cricket venue for the semi-final between India and Bangladesh, which is like 40 minutes from here. Then from there, I had to take a cab to go to the volleyball, which is in another city. It's not part of Hangzhou, Shaoxing. And that's 1.5 hours by cab. And then from there, I had to go to the football in the night for India versus Myanmar. That's another 40, 45. No, 1 hour it was. Yeah. And then from there, you have to come to the media center, which is another half an hour. So, and the language is also is another issue where you can't like easily communicate even sometimes with the staff and the locals. So, but people have been like really helpful here with the staff. They've helped you book cabs, and everything here is digital in terms of paying money. So, when they talk about cash, they're like, we don't deal in cash anymore or something which they are saying. But it's so far hasn't been a trouble for me. I've been able to like they have accepted cash, so it's been working out okay.
Okay. Have you tried the public transport like the subway and all? Have
We
you tried
took a
that?
metro also, the Indian press contingent here. So we, one night we took the metro. Supposed to be pretty useful, but then like again, from the metro, we'll have to then further walk,
Okay.
which might like take us some time. So most of the commuting has been through the transport which they have provided us here for the media.
Hmm. So the official event started on 24th. There were four competitions that started like 4 days earlier, from September 19. It was the football, the women's cricket, volleyball, and beach volleyball. And we arguably got a very big story from volleyball itself, where men's volleyball team like they face a lot of hardships in the past, and to again like overcome that and just seeing them watching them play live against such big teams like South Korea and Chinese Taipei. How was it and how was the experience? And also because you were covering, most of the matches were not being telecast, so you were I think the only source for the world, for most of the Indian audience who wanted to know what Indians were doing.
Yeah, I think especially for the South Korea game because I don't think anyone expected them to do so well. But we also like looking, have to look at the results in some context where like the teams, some of the heavyweights didn't send their like best teams because of the Olympic qualifiers coming through. But
Hmm.
even then, like India, which is ranked much below them, and
Yeah.
considering the conditions with which they are provided with, it's not an easy. I mean, you can't take the result lightly. It's a positive
Hmm.
start because you could see like how much it meant to the Indian followers back home because a team event usually like tends to bring together the nation more than individual event, and
Yeah.
volleyball is something which has been historically uh, one of the most popular sports in India, where we have done well in the past in Asian Games, and for the sport to have not had a good
Hmm.
time in nearly 3 decades, and to like have a mini resurgence is going to be like great for them, because you could see like a lot of people talking about like how we need like invest more money and time into uh, a sport like volleyball so that they could prosper.
Hmm. You also watched cricket, women's team. So the format itself, I was like a bit problematic, to be honest, because there was a possibility of the team winning the tournament without even playing just because of the
Yeah.
seeding. But keeping that aside, you covered the semis and the finals.
I covered all
Just
India matches.
basically, yeah. And
So
how was
there are three
the
of them.
yeah?
Yeah. So I mean, the whole setting is like brilliant. It's the cricket stadium is inside a university there in Zhejiang.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, so they apparently converted a sunflower field into a cricket venue here, and so that venue used to be like a place where people after their honeymoon used to come and take photographs there, like for a photo shoot. But now it's been turned into a cricket venue,
yeah.
uh, and the local. So I met a lot of Indian fans there and who were struggling to get passes. Apparently, the local people here have booked out the tickets, and most of them didn't turn up for the matches, I guess. I mean, they're not
Oh,
familiar with the sport, but yeah, when the booking opened, it seems that they had booked out most of the tickets. But yeah,
okay.
there were most of the crowd there were for all matches were the locals from there,
Hmm.
and the pitch was like in overcast conditions, like it was uh, the Indians particularly like had a good outing with the bat
Hmm.
and with the ball, but others couldn't uh, assert themselves. Teams like Sri Lanka and Bangladesh who have a good spin attack, they couldn't really. I mean, most of the matches are rained out also in the early stages,
Yeah.
but in only in the later semi-finals and in the final, you could see those teams uh, come good with the ball. But I think India, because of their batting power, they were the stronger units out of
Stronger
the.
team. Then.
Yeah. So India always were the favorites, and because of the runs they could get on the board, were they could see out the opponents and then get the first Asian Games medal here.
Hmm. Also, one of the sports that you went to cover one day, and we were very curious, was esports. How was watching esports live and looking at it at like one year before the Olympics? I don't think esports is there next year in the Olympics. But
No, it's
do
not.
you see
Yeah.
a future as an Olympic sports for esports? It's already very big,
I
like even outside the Olympics. But do you think it can be a big thing at the Olympics also?
I do actually, because you should see the setting here in China and the popularity here. It's in the Asian Games, esports has the highest ticket prices, which
Okay.
no one would believe that. Like if you had told this like before you came here, um, they are paying as close to 1,000 yuan, which is like in Indian currency is 11,000 plus for a esports ticket. I spoke to three fans there. Each of them had paid one paid 200, which is the starting price. One paid 500 yuan and one paid 1,000 yuan.
Hmm.
And to put it into context, say for a league of football, the EA Sports FC game, which is formerly the FIFA, the starting price is 400 yuan. And for the football game, the actual football tournament, the men's and women's football, the starting price is 50. So you could see like the vast difference between and the demand for these tickets,
Yeah.
and the whole setting in itself, right? Like the venue looks like a spaceship uh, put inside a park here, and even the whole arena where the players come and play, it's like a lot of like cool vibes which we get.
Hmm.
Like it's a very Gen Z sport, and
Yeah.
which is also this is might be wrong when I call it a Gen Z sport because some of the athletes are in their 30s as well, like who are participating here.
Hmm.
And for India, I think like most of them who turned up here, uh, compared to say like a team like South Korea, where they are primed to like take gold here. But
Hmm.
Indians, I think yesterday in the League of Legends, they lost to Vietnam, and
Hmm.
most of them, uh, when they came out of their rooms, they were all like smiling because it's a big deal for them that they have come here. Because when you think about like a esports or a video games, like people like tend to scoff at it, like
Yeah.
why do you play video games? But for these guys to like come all the way here to having represented the nation, like they were saying how their parents are so proud, and then telling other people that my son has gone here to like play for India in the Asian Games, which is huge. Also got a chance to speak to the Indian representative in Street Fighter 5, Ayan
Hmm.
Biswas from West Bengal. This guy who's 24 years old is a postman by day, and he's a esports player by night. And this is the job which he loves doing. That and that's why like even the amount of money which he makes from both jobs is like so
Hmm.
stark. Like he gets 15,000 for his day job, and I think he has gotten over 3 to 4 lakhs as a prize money for esports. But he wants to continue being a postman because like he loves doing it, and he's dedicated in doing both the jobs. So
Okay.
it's huge for him. Yeah.
Hmm. So India has had tremendous success in sailing and shooting also, but there are some events yet to be done in these sports. So we'll talk about that in the one of the
So
later
yeah, like
episodes once.
so about that, like we have in Sportsar and the Hindu, we have the luxury of having Uttara Ganeshan, who's
Yeah.
also here in Hangzhou. So
Hmm.
we have been like splitting the schedule amongst ourselves, where Uttara takes shooting, and I tend to go for other sports. So we are able to like cover multiple sports in a day, say close to 4 or 5. Considering the
Yeah.
logistics here, it's been
Hmm.
great. So Uttara has been shooting. We have had tremendous success this year,
Yeah.
and particularly in team events
Hmm.
where we racked up goals there. And
Yeah.
so Uttara would be the person who would be able to
Yeah.
shed light more on the shooting. Sailing is another thing where the venue is, I think, 2.5, 3 hours away from here.
Oof.
So it's impossible for us to like, go there for a day and miss
Hmm.
out on other events. So in terms of sometimes prioritizing, and even
Hmm.
as journalists, when we plan and go, um, some sports you don't expect us to like doing so well. So I know it's harsh to say that, but then like when we pick and choose sports like sailing, because of also how far it is away, because we managed to cover rowing, which is pretty much like
Hmm.
30 minutes from here, but sailing is like far away in the sea. So
Very
that was
far. Yeah.
something which we want to, but then like wanted to, but we couldn't do that.
Hmm. So there are many big events yet to start. Like badminton has just started today. Athletics is there to be played. Men's cricket is there. We'll talk about that in the later, in one of the later podcasts. Just last thing that I want to talk to you about is the silver medal that we've got in wushu, Roshi Veena Devi. Uh, how was talking to her? Like she's talked about the situation in Manipur and dedicating it to three athletes who couldn't be there. Just sum up uh, how was she and her performance in the event.
Yeah. So I caught her semifinals and final today, which was today. And I think in the final she was up against it. Uh, she was playing against the local here, uh,
Hmm.
Wu Shuai, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sorry if I'm
Some.
getting her name wrong. Yeah,
Hmm.
and even early in the morning, as much early as like 9:30 in the morning, like so many locals have turned up here. I mean, it's a Chinese martial arts sport, so
Yeah,
a lot of people have interest in that. And one again up against the crowd, and Wu had a slightly height advantage on her. So when
yeah.
Ruhina was trying to get her punches, kicks in,
Hmm.
like she wasn't able to, like even when she was going for the grapples or
Yeah.
takedown, she wasn't able to like lift her up. So yeah, even from the start, like you could see that yeah, this may not be her day. And but I mean, like quick turnaround also. Like last time she finished her game at 8 o'clock, and today in the
Hmm.
morning she had to like go. I mean, it's the same for both the athletes, but yeah,
Yeah.
I I personally felt that like doesn't seem like there is enough recovery between these two events. But yeah, I think after that in the mix zone when we got to catch up with her, we asked her like who she dedicating the medal to first, and she said like she wants to dedicate it to her people back home. And as she was talking about it, she started. You could see that she's trying to hold back her tears because the trying to like talk about what's happening back home, and
Hmm.
eventually she did break down and where she said that like that she wishes she could do something about it and wants to appeal for peace so that they could go back to having a normal life there. And so her
Hmm.
parents and her family are safe right now, but
Hmm.
they are still like living in fear that something
Hmm.
would happen.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
which is not ideal for any athlete. Uh, she might have been like dreaming of this moment where like she wins a medal, which is bettering her previous Asian Games record from a bronze to silver,
Bronze to
and
silver, yes.
to go home and see her parents. But now she doesn't even know when she's gonna go back home. She's
Hmm.
waiting on her coaches to tell her when would be the right time. So yeah, hopefully soon, and hopefully things return back to normal so that she can have that moment with her family.
We won't hold you any longer. Thanks for joining, Ashin, for this podcast, for this episode of the podcast. And we'll catch up shortly later. And hopefully, Uttara will also join us in one of the later episodes. So we can talk about how brilliantly India has performed in shooting and
Yeah,
sailing also. So,
yeah.
yeah, that's
I
it
just
for this
want to say,
episode.
I just want to
Yeah,
say that like I slightly pessimistic, but I don't think we are going to hit the 100 mark, which a lot of people were clamoring in the lead up to the Asian Games.
sort of trying to avoid that topic, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I might as well like talk about it, but I
Yeah.
think few sports which we expected to do well, table tennis, team events, tennis, tennis singles, which we usually medal at. So
Tennis
they're
has been a tremendous disappointment, man. Just
yeah.
don't go there.
Maybe you can shed some light on that. I was supposed to go for the tennis
Yeah, yeah, no,
men's
yeah,
doubles.
men's doubles, you're saying?
Men's doubles today, but it seems like the second match of the day is still ongoing, and I
Yeah,
think India's match is after one more game or two more games. I'm not sure.
one
So
more singles, yeah, one more singles is there,
yeah,
yes.
so I don't know if I can finish that and then go for the football later in the evening, which
Hmm.
is India Saudi. Yeah, that's also a I again let's be a little realistic. I mean, if they so far what they've done is uh, been amazing, right? Like
Yeah.
against all odds, whatever the hoops they have gone through to like get here to the
Hmm.
knockouts in the first place is huge. But Saudi is going to be massive for India. But they've had
Hmm.
some rest and time to train for the first time since they've got here. So
Hmm.
let's just hope for the best. Yeah,
Yeah, considering the situation in which they came, all the build-up and all, I think reaching the knockouts is a big thing. Even the women's
yeah,
team also did well. They were very close
yeah,
in both matches. I think they had a
yeah,
chance to win both the games. So yeah, good signs for Indian football, I think.
yeah.
Uh, so yeah, that's it for this episode of the Sports Star podcast. We'll be back with a new episode shortly. And if you like this episode, do give us a rating on all the streaming platforms on which you're listening to this. And yeah, see you soon with a new episode.